Hello boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm the Obscure Joe PT, and for today what we have here is Elex. Elex was a game, an RPG game developed by Bytes, which is using their Genome engine, the same engine behind Gothic 3 Reason series. So yes, Bytes was the developers of the Gothic series and Reason series. They are good RPGs, but let's talk now about the settings. This is a benchmark channel, so for this PC I decided that 1080p with 100% resolution scaling was a good thing. Also, I'm using a mix between median and high settings, so I'm using depth field, SMA anti-aliasing, 4 times anisotropic filtering, ambient occlusion you can choose between off, low or high. I think low is pretty good. Fog textures are set to median. This is because on median settings the game uses a lot of VRAM and I had some troubles with the high settings, which I will explain a little bit further. So shadow quality, vegetation and shaders were set to high and distances were set to median settings, okay? So, and with these settings what I got was pretty much a performance above the 30 frames per second. I tried to target 60 frames per second, see if any setting did provide me that, but unfortunately it was not possible at 1080p, which I end up giving up from the 60 frames per second experience. And so here are the results for the first minutes of the game. So with the high settings I got an average of 30 frames per second, but 32 in fact. But if you notice the blue graph a little bit more forward, you can even see that the frame rate dropped a lot to 19 frames per second. There was a problem which I will explain a little bit later. My custom median high settings was completely fine with an average around the 41 and the 1% low around the 35. If you need some extra frame rate you can drop the rest of the settings to median, an average of 43. And if you want to have even more low settings, it's actually fine with an average of 49 and the 1% low of 41. Okay, but this was on the first minute, so let's take now a look on the Relive, which is the main city of the game. So all the RPGs on the main cities are a little bit more demanding. Well, to be honest, I'm not really sure if this is the main city, but it was a busy city, in fact. And so my custom median what I got was an average around 37, a 1% low of 30, while the median settings boosted a little bit the performance on the minimums to 33. Okay, so the high settings didn't drop so low as before, but the average was still 30 frames per second and the game did drop sometimes from the 30s. So that is why that for me, maybe if you want to enjoy this game with the system that I have here listed, I mean the HD 7850 or anything, if you have this system, I think median settings or my custom median high settings should be enough for you to enjoy the game with an experience around the 30-40 frames per second, okay? So what was my main problem with the high textures? So yeah, there was a problem with this game with the high textures. The high textures usually played quite well, but as soon as I got to the jungle and I opened the inventory, the game started to stutter a lot, the frame rate dropped to 19 frames per second. I tried to repeat that sequence over and over and over again to try to understand if there was a problem with any other setting. I messed up with all the other settings to try to understand what the hell was causing those drops, and I end up knowing that it was a problem with the texture. So if you have a 4 GB R7 370, you can use the high textures, although for all the users with 2 GB graphic cards listed on the title, I recommend you to reduce the game to median textures. At first it might look that the high textures are running fine, but as soon as there are so much stuff on the VRAM, the game starts to drop frame rates in a very weird way, so that is why I recommend you to stick with the median settings. So let's now talk a little bit about the game. Elex is, like I said, an RPG developed by Bytes, and if you played Gothic or Reason, I'm pretty sure you will feel like you are home, because the combat system remains more and less the same. Well, there are some nice changes on the combat system, but I think the main problem with Bytes RPGs was always the combat system. Since Gothic 3 to Reason, all suffered a lot with the melee combat system. On Gothic 3 I remember that, for example, crossbows or arching things or magic attacks, it were kind of auto-targeting the enemies. In this game it's not the case anymore. You can pick a crossbow or a bow and you can point and target to your enemies, so it means that you can fail the attacks. So it feels much better playing with an arrow or anything, although the melee combat system, in my opinion, it's still bad. Now you need to hit the opponents and make combos like it was a KTA event. Well, it doesn't appear that you need to click or attack in those moments, but there are a bar which shows you filling up and you need to hit the keys at those moments that appears on the bar. So it feels like a different style of KTA events, but I think it's not really there. They improved the combat system for ranged attacks. In my opinion, it is much better than it was before, but for melee combat system, I think Piranha Bytes continues to need a lot of improvements, okay? So that's my perspective around the combat system. Regarding the game itself, it feels like the regular Gothic 3 Reason game, so it all feels pretty much the same, the animations feels the same. So if you enjoy it pretty much the other RPGs from Piranha Bytes, I'm pretty sure you are going to enjoy this one too. Although if you never enjoyed RPGs from Piranha Bytes, if you never enjoyed Reason, if you never enjoyed Gothic 3, I'm pretty sure you are going to have an hard time enjoying Elex too. So be aware of that before buying the game, okay? So guys, thank you a lot for watching until now. Hope you keep enjoying the rest of the video, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
I'll get this one. Are you ready to go on?
You should come with me. See something more than go.